Alrighty. Hello, everyone, and welcome to chapter 6 of Sunrise on the Reaping. I finally gotten the book on my computer so I can actually read it and give you live reactions to the book. I still have the audio book on Audible, but I kind of wanted to do a bit more of a live reaction kind of a thing and see how it all plays out and if it works or not. So I'm going to be reading through it. You're going to see my reactions live as I read through it. I won't read it out loud per se, just in my mind, but you'll see my reactions and I'll pause at multiple stages to share my thoughts on the book. Okay. We start off with a banger of a paragraph. It literally starts with a dead mockingjay chick, eyes still bright, feathers blue black in the sunlight, clawed feet empty on a bed of moss. Lenora Dove stroked its plumage with her fingertip. Poor baby, poor little bird, who will sing your songs now? And it kind of just immediately breaks your heart. Kind of realize why I was kind of preventing myself from reading this book because I knew how much it hurt me the previous chapter, and I thought that, it will kind of lay a bit lower, like bring me in gently into this particular chapter, but it did not. It's just like bam, boom, shot right in the head kind of a scenario. But yeah, oh. And I love how Hamish immediately kind of thinks about Lenora Dove in scenarios where he is going through something difficult, or if he's just sitting in a space where he's like, I don't know really what to do right now, or like he's kind of stuck in emptiness. He immediately fills up that space with Lenora Dove and her stories and thoughts. That's beautiful. I love how Hamish is trying to, I don't know, almost not make her look pretty, but make her look natural in this part where, he resets the braids, he arranges the braids, and he cleans off blood from her cheek by licking his thumb. It has such a similar vibe to, not completely, but it has such a similar vibe to Katniss and how we felt when Rue died, and she kind of like created a beautiful space for Rue to sleep in before she was taken away by the capital. Oh, Measley taking off one of her necklaces and giving it to Luella, which she was going to give it to her as a token so that she could have something from home. This chapter is immediately breaking me. I love how Wyatt, Measley, and Hamish are immediately trying to ensure that she is not taken away, or even if she is taken away, it's not like a very easy fight for them. It is something that they can't just hide her away so that no one figures it out. They want to make them fight for her, which is really powerful and kind of shows that there's so much more and so many more layers to Wyatt and Measley as opposed to what we've been seeing so far. And it's kind of sad that the horses from the chariots, they leaped the barricades and they plowed through the crowd. And medics are swarming, but they're swarming around capital people and not the tributes who are fallen down, the District 6 tributes who are injured and fallen down. Kind of shows how, I mean, we kind of knew that this isn't going to be a space where, like, they do not care for the tributes at all. And we know that. But yeah, it just adds another layer to that. See, once again, we kind of see Hamish thinking, what difference does it make him giving over Luella's body now or at a later point in time? But then he sees that there are a lot of those big screens, and a lot of them have gone to the waving flag of the capital, but a few are still on. And he sees himself carrying Luella, and he knows that it is being recorded and potentially being aired in the capital at least. Maybe if it makes a difference, and he wants to make a difference as much as he can. Maybe this is where I paint my poster. That is such a great line. Makes sense. Hamish just Panache, I hope I'm saying their name right or his name right. He was trying to move his horse so that he could be one of the only ones who could reach the president's mansion by chariot. He was like, I'm still gonna continue the path that I was going to take. And while he has a great idea, Hamish just jumps into the chariot and he wants Luella to be with him for everyone to see. And that is, I think, that is also going to be something that we see a lot. Like, Hamish stealing other people's ideas to survive in the arena might be something that we can look forward to. Our tokens catch the eye: Luella's bright beaded necklace, my exquisite flint striker. For the first time in this gorgeous rig, with our fine ornaments, we look like tributes of consequence, not long shots or at least long shots you might consider sponsoring. A shame one of us is dead. Hamish sees President Snow being a bitch, where he's like, you know what, this is just amusement, this is just entertainment for me. I don't care about your rebellion. I don't care about the fact that you're showing me a dead girl. I've seen more. Since the entirety of the Hunger Games, this is nothing. And he's not impressed with the performance. So Hamish is like, you know what? Someone's gonna kick you down one day. And if I lay the path for it, I am happy to. And so he dismounts the chariot and lays Luella down, taking a step back so Snow can't pretend he doesn't see her broken little bird body. Then I gesture to him and begin to applaud, giving credit where credit is due. Ooh. Suddenly, the president's expression changes. He turns his attention to the screen to my right, which features a shot of me from the waist up clapping. It's sad that I'm just reading the part where Hamish is being taken away by the peacekeepers, and as he's being taken away, he becomes aware of the crowd and hears the voices shouting. And a lot of them are like, hey, where are you from, boy? 12, you're from 12, right? And Hamish is like, what? Are you guys talking to me? Like, speak up, boy, can't sponsor you. We don't know who you are. And kind of, I think that's kind of sad because Hamish did not mean that to be a way for him to stand apart from the crowd. He didn't mean Luella's death to be something that was used for his own survival. Never that. He cared for Luella a lot. And for that to be something that makes him stand apart, I think might just eat him alive. And he says that maybe I should be grateful or at least smart, but it's impossible with Luella's blood coating my hands. I like how Measley is like, well, you got the last word tonight, Mr. Abernathy, and it's a play on the fact where Hamish was like, oh, I pushed away the cake and you still got to fight with Ursula and beat her up. And so I wonder if this is going to be something that keeps them alive in the arena, where Measley and Hamish are like, who shows up the other person? I know I'm making jokes. I am extremely. This chapter, whew, it's messed up. I love this line. I would rather be despised than ignored. Fair. I mean, it's kind of sad. I wouldn't like to be despised, generally speaking, but it is something that works for them right now, considering that they're going into an arena. Wyatt, I love you, boy. I absolutely do. I am struggling to keep the Wyatt protection squad where it is. And I know you're being extremely logical right now, but that line where he's like, yes, but it's unlikely Luella would have killed any of us. And as an undersized 13-year-old from 12, she barely factored into the rankings anyway. Baby girl. Shh. Just for 2 seconds. So you do not end up getting on the bad side of Hamish and Measley. I mean, they don't really consider you as anything big, but still at the same time, like, please. there is this conversation where Hamish is like, just what odds do you think your past giving on you winning Wyatt? And it leads to shame. But then it also leads to a conversation where Maisie is like, that was mean even by my standards. You can't choose your parents, you can't choose where you're born. And I think that is so huge within this particular series as well. You can't choose where you're born. You can't choose if you're born in the capital. You can't choose if you're born in the districts, if you're born in one of the richer ones or one of the poorer ones. And you're kind of dealt a hand in life, right? You never know where that is going to lead you. I think this book specifically is going to talk about a lot of different things. People kind of expect us to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And it's it's a conversation about cycles, right? Like the cycles that exist and the cycles that we fail to break because we don't see another option, or because it has been the way that things have been done for a really long time and we're kind of used to it. There is no other option or opportunity for us to explore, or because we are just scared, or because sometimes, irrespective of how much we try, we can't really break out of the circle. We're kind of stuck in that loop over and over and over again. And I think measly saying that, I was going to spend my life behind that candy counter no matter how much I hated it. And you would have been wearing miners overalls to your grave, just like your dad and, his dad before him. None of us had any choices. I think that's a powerful line. And all these tiny things have been sprinkled very beautifully throughout this book. And by beautifully, I mean in a way where it just hurts us because we know that, irrespective of how much people are going to try, things are not really going to change for a really long time. That kind of hurts. Not that it devalues the people who have tried, and not that it devalues the struggle that people went through and the intention of trying and trying and trying, irrespective of what happens, irrespective of whether it works or not, which is huge in its own space and sense. If I keep trying something and it doesn't show me the result that I want to see, and that keeps happening for a really long time, eventually there reaches a point where I go, should I just stop? I am wasting my time and energy on something that is not giving me the result that I want to see. Should I just stop? And I think for them to continue doing this, and for people to have been trying way before, and for them to continue doing this even after, for a really long time, until Katniss's whole scenario happens, it's going to be huge and really powerful and impactful in its own way and form. Oh, that's sad. They're talking about how Mr. McCoy held up Luella at the window for all his kids to see, and I can just imagine a Lion King moment right there. Oh, they will not use my tears for their entertainment. I was just reading the names of all these people, the tributes from every district, and I was just scrolling and I was like, oh, let me just get to the main stuff. And it kind of hit me, that's what people have been doing in the capital as well. At the end of the day, these are all names of their favorite contestants that disappear as soon as they die or the next Hunger Games arrives. And so, just to be better than capital members, I'm going to sit and read everyone's name. I mean, I was going to do that anyways, but also just to snide capital members while I'm doing it. That's the thing, right? 48 kids minus one. I'll never remember all of their names. Doubt they will remember mine. There are just too many of us. And this is going to keep repeating and repeating and repeating, and people are going to forget. Hamish talking to Amper just because if he would have been Sid, he would have hoped that someone was friendly to his brother. Oh. Ampert asking Hamish to be his ally. It's so sweet. Hamish doesn't think so. He's like, oh, his district tributes have rejected him, so he's on the hunt for someone who's more pathetic than he is. Oof. I had an ally and she's already dead. Of course, making a good rum punch is more important than looking after kids who've just lost one of their district members. And yeah, of course, letting kids figure out where and how they should survive for the next few days potentially makes sense to them. Someone made bean and ham hock soup that his ma used to make whenever someone died. Oh. Virus is here, and she's one of their mentors. Ooh, that's kind of chaotic. To have an arena built out of shiny surfaces, you would be so disoriented. Ooh, that's kind of torture. I mean, I know they're trying to torture them, but also, dang. I mean, I know that the mirrors was not the only thing, but to have like reach for a weapon and to get air instead, or leap into a clearing and smack into a wall, or dodge an attacker only to run straight onto their sword. It's kind of like very hallucinatory, which is very, very scary. I honestly think I'm going to go back and read the Hunger Games books. I know it's going to wreck me, but when I first read it, I was in 11th or 12th, and I was extremely burnt out and stressed from preparing for med school. And so at that point in time, it was all just something to read, something to consume, something to get my mind off of studying. And so maybe it didn't hit that hard. I was also really young. I was what? I mean, my prefrontal lobe hadn't even developed completely. So I was just in that space of like, yeah, yeah, whatever, whatever. As long as it makes sense, I'm going to consume it. And Peta and Katniss's love story made more sense back then. I mean, I'm not dismissing the horrors of the arena, right? Like, yeah. But also at the same time, back then I was really young. So I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna read stuff from a space of getting to escape the chaos of my personal life and the chaos of just stuck in a loop of studying, 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 studying. And so I do really want to go back and read the Hunger Games books again and see how I experience it from a different viewpoint, because I feel like if I would have read Sunrise on the Reaping when I was younger, it would have made an impact, but it would have been another book. I mean, not in a bad way, but more so just a book to kind of get me through into the next part of whatever chaos which was studying till I fell asleep, kind of a thingy. It was just an escape. So I feel like I am reacting and responding to this book and all the characters a lot more heavily than I would have when I was younger. Oh, Iris is smart, and it's kind of similar to her figuring out the shimmery and the force field. Like she was like, "Oh, see, the air is shimmering. That means there's a force field up there." Or her figuring out that the arena was a clock in the second book. She is very, very clever in that way, in finding out a blind spot, and people were fighting right near her, but they didn't see her. So that's very clever. Ooh. Funny thing, if anything can be called funny in a Hunger Games, was watching the game makers attempting to deliver her sponsor gifts, which they repeatedly failed to do. And the fact that Virus, a girl from District 3, could understand the arena better than they did was embarrassing and funny. Yeah, I can see that being funny. The fact that the hovercraft, that's the word, oh my gosh, I was forgetting the word, flying around for about an hour before she was like, you know what, I think I have annoyed them enough, and just going out to the cornucopia so that she could be picked up was hilarious. I followed the light beams, it's very clever. And that she is a bit too unnerving. That's fair, but also she figured it out. Like she hardly fought. I mean, not that it wasn't scary, but yeah, it was clever. Don't worry, Hamish. You're not getting leftovers. You're getting a very smart lady. I don't remember if he mentioned this to Katniss back in the second book. Virus was his mentor back in his own games. It's kind of sad. A little boy who was the victor of one of the Hunger Games, and they genuinely triggered his fear right out of his games by showing him his games, and how all the 23 kids and tributes in his games died. It's kind of like, they can't, it's like poking the wound again and again and again, and irrespective of how it affects people, and that's how little they care for all the tributes. And honestly, I genuinely do want to see how the other districts have been revolting, even if it was in silence, because seeing something like this would have pissed me the hell off. And this woman kind of like shielding him away from the cameras. That's amazing. It's Max. Oh, wait, it's Max. Oh my god. Hello. Your death made me cry when I read about it in the books. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about Luella Hamish, and that's the thing that breaks him. Oh, that this was a really good chapter. Oh, yeah, you know what? I think I am going to stick to one chapter video, because these chapters are breaking my heart. I really did not think that it would have this much of an impact on me, and it does. It's kind of chaotic. And I am feeling numbed out. So I'm going to stick with one chapter a week and one chapter a video. But this was a really good chapter nonetheless. We see some of our favorites from our future show up here, and it's Virus and Mags, both of them being the tributes that Katniss has in her team, and both of them dying literally in the 75th quarter quell 25 years later. It is a good parallel that they show up in the 50th Hunger Games and then in the 75th Hunger Games. Kind of sad, but a wonderful chapter nonetheless. I can't wait to read more and see how it keeps growing and what else we learn about different arenas. That was fun. I'll see you in the next one.